Alrighty. Hello, hello, hello. Just a minute before, so we'll get it officially kicked off in less than a minute, but welcome, welcome. Come on in, make yourself at home, because I bet you're there, like me, like Kim. Hello, Francois. Welcome back. Francoise.
CS, yes.
Yes, yes. Remedial French. Sorry. All of my French needs remediation, serious remediation. So, all right. So we're at the top of the hour. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is, I think this is either the fourth or the fifth one already. So, woohoo. Hey, Rosemary. Welcome aboard. Hey, Val. I can see the chat right now, but Kim is going to be relaying it to me because I'm about to push my camera a little further away so that you can see what I'm working on in a couple of minutes. But welcome, welcome, everybody. I have to say, before we get into anything else, that you guys are totally rocking the Facebook page. I have the action on it, the number of posts, the conversations. It's beyond my wildest dreams, and in terms of what I wanted to be able to offer people, like a place to share things, a place to talk about art and collage, and it's down to you guys. So, you know, I just created a room, and you guys like came in and put stuff all over the walls and made it a happening, wonderful thing. So, I am so over the moon about that. I am going to touch on a couple of housekeeping things, and then we'll get this party started. So, I wanted to let you know about a couple of upcoming options for courses. I am launching a creative stenciling course that is now on my website. If you go to calhoney.ca and look under Teaching Plus and then online offerings, you will see that. If you love playing with stencils the way I do, that might be a course you want to check out. It's a 6-week course. It starts May 15th. Also, a couple of places where I teach as well. Visual Arts Mississauga is about to launch a week today. Several courses will be going live on their website not going live. They will be available for registration starting Monday, April 27th. And I will be offering one of them, and it is Exploring Abstraction Monday mornings, starting May 4th for 6 weeks. And if you are also a Nielsen Park Creative Center person, their registration for about, I don't know, 8 or 9 different courses online. Again, they're both through Zoom. Everyone's using Zoom, it seems. Registration is now open there for if you are a member for courses starting in late April. And if you are not a member, they will be open to the public on April 24th. And bonus, if you are over 60, courses are free, thanks to a grant that they got. So check their website, nielsenparkcreativecenter.com, for more details. I will be offering 2 offerings at Nielsen through Zoom, at home, right? One is Urban Landscapes, and that starts, that's Wednesday afternoon starting May 6th, 6 weeks. And I'm doing a sort of a 3 morning, but as much in between as you like, 3 days a week for 1 week, sort of an intensive collage new directions. I had been scheduled at Nielsen before COVID struck to do a week-long intensive, like Monday through Friday, all day, every day, the week of June 22nd. And we sort of scaled that back to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. And then you can do as much as you like in between those classes. So, so that's a lot to take on. Check out those websites if you are interested in some online courses. Mine, BAM's, Nielsen's, all good. It's great to be able to tell people that there are more options for courses online now as people get ramped up. And Kim has, yeah. So what have you got, Kim? Not to put you on the spot, but
I have a brand new course in altered books.
Right. Yes. Altered Books is going to be amazing.
Session.
6 weeks.
And a new 6-week session of Jelly Jam.
Right. So her very popular Jelly Jam, which is about gel printing with gel print monoplate gel printing.
Gel plate monoprints.
Gel plate monoprints. You can tell it's not my subject. So, and when does the next one start?
May 7th for the Jelly Jam, to just roll right into it, and May 15th, which is a Friday, for the Altered Books.
Right, great. All right, enough about all that. Let's get started going in circles. So that is our optional theme, and remember, all themes are optional. If it's like, oh, that doesn't speak to me, great, do something else. It's totally cool. I like to give prompts that are open-ended so that you can take them in different directions. I can think of a lot of different directions, even if I'm going in circles, right? The idea of just using circles, anything that's cut in a circle, the idea of being lost and going in circles, or anything that's cyclical, right? That goes around, comes around. Anything like maybe you're a runner. I know, Val, you are. Are you going out on the track? So in which case you're doing circles, right? Doing laps. Circle is one of the 3 primary geometric shapes, triangles and squares being the other 2. And it's unique in that it doesn't have any corners. It has no hierarchy, right? If you take the center point, all the points around the perimeter are equidistant from the center. So no hierarchy, no sharp edges. It's all round. So it's gentler than all the shapes with like pointy corners. No contrasts, like a square has directional contrast. It has this direction, and they sort of hit each other at the corner, whereas round, none of that issue. So it brings a whole bunch of interesting, lovely connotations. So without further ado, let's get going. And Kim, her fingers have been tapping wildly, so I'm going to ask her if there's anything that she needs to pass along.
A lot of greetings.
Hello, hello.
Val and Sparkle Girl, Rosemary, Shauna, Jane,
Hey, Shauna. Hey, Jane.
Lisa, Marion.
Hey, Lisa, Marion. Great.
Rena,
yay.
Gerda,
Hey, Gerda. Ricky,
Mia,
excellent. Mia.
Judy, Philippa, Linda. Cheryl says hello from Coburg.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And Mia suggested that we put our websites. I said we'd put them in the description under this video at the end of the live stream. Yes.
So there's with YouTube live streams. Couple of times ago with Kim's virtual collage, virtual studio party, too many virtuals. I was madly posting websites for her, like, oh, you should look up this, everyone check this out. And they weren't posting because it's a way that anyone can come on and like promote their own agenda. So the only person who can put an actual web link in the comments is me, and I have to reach way over to my computer. So that's what we'll do. We'll put our websites in the
description box below the video.
Yes, exactly. This is why I have her along. She's very helpful. So I've chosen to arrange my materials slightly differently, more by color today. I don't know whether you can see it entirely. You'll see a little Kim arm there. Hi, Kim. But I've sort of put my cools over here, my warms over here, and I've just thrown a few magazine clippings of bits by color, but I don't know. It just depends how I'm feeling on any given day. Now I have to get I want to be able to see sort of what I'm working on and sort of me too. So there we go. So
Marie, I'll just mention Marie paints Hi, Cal. Love the focus. Love circles. My first painting that I ever purchased was an abstract of circles.
Oh yeah, no, circles are great. I mean, there are a few basic geometric shapes, and they're quintessential, right? Everyone recognizes them. Anytime you use a bunch of the same shape, it's another way of creating harmony, right? So you may have disparate materials, as you often do in collage, like maybe a drawing and a flat piece of graphic color and an image, and if they're all cut in circles, immediately it's got that in common. So collage, because it brings in so many different things, or can, obviously it's always the artist's choice how many different things they want to juggle, or if they want to keep it really concise, only photographs, only flat color, only whatever. Where was I going with that? Lost that thread. Anything that brings things together. So, it's all in a similar color palette, or it's all similar kind of shape, or it's all a similar kind of material. All of those things can sort of unify things that are otherwise disparate. And collage, because it brings in so many different things, can benefit from that kind of a strategy. So I brought my old high school Staedtler Mars compass out. I'm not even sure whether I'll use it, but I thought circles might come in handy. Punch. I might. Yeah.
I'll get my.
Kim is a punch fiend, so she's very generously offered to share.
I'm a wannabe punch fiend. I can't afford to be a punch fiend.
No, it's true. They even with the 40% off Michael's coupons, they do add up. But she does have a nice array. Look at that. 5/8. That looks like 1. And is this the 2? No,
2.5 or something.
No, it's 3. Yeah. I was looking at this size, and they can't. It's not.
Yeah, they can't make it big enough.
So you might have seen these coming out to play on Kim's
my studio party,
virtual studio party. I just can't seem to remember that. We've talked with quite a few people who have noticed that now that we're a few weeks in, they are sort of, their energy level is going down a little bit, and we've noticed the same thing. Like, we were like gung-ho at first. Oh, we got this. We'll do this. We'll do that. And now we're kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. We'll do that. So,
right after our nap.
Yeah, right after our nap. So I'm doing my best to keep the energy up. So who all is here? Well, Kim has been
we can add in a few more names.
Yeah, add some more names, and let Kim know where you're watching from.
Annie and Rebecca said
Annie.
hi.
Hey, Rebecca.
Susan is here from Riverdale.
Yay.
Mira has joined us and
Mira.
says she's ready to circle around and around.
Excellent.
Marcia says she's discovered that glue sticks don't work very well on acrylic paint.
Acrylic paint is it's plastic, right? So probably to glue to that, you would be better off using medium, because paint sticks to paint nicely,
acrylic polymer medium.
Acrylic polymer medium, in other words. So yeah, medium is probably
or
better.
White glue if you don't have any medium.
Yeah, but yeah, glue stick's better on porous or
paper.
Yeah.
Paper to paper. Tango, is that Mia? Tango?
I think
so.
Mia is Tango.
Says, yes, very tired here. Wow, did not know punches like that exist. I've been using lids dipped in paint to make my circles.
It's all good, right? Dinner plates, anything round, and we have lots of round things, just go into the kitchen, right? But yeah, Kim gets these at mostly Michael's, right?
Yeah, with a coupon.
Yeah. And I should demonstrate them. They're pretty fun, actually. So
I show how you can see through the bottom.
Oh yeah,
flip it over.
So that it has a little piece that you can slide out to let things the punched pieces fall out, which I might as well do. But you can sort of see where it goes, so you know.
Position it.
Make sure you've got it like not positioned half unless you want half. And it has a stop all the way in. So I wonder what that is. Is that like a halfway? Yeah. It's got a little little indent that's halfway in the front, halfway on the sides. That's kind of useful. And so do these. Yeah, cool.
So you can center things.
Yeah, that's smart. But you got to admit, a perfect circle that easy has got to be pretty seductive. Yeah, that's just too much fun. It's like bubble wrap. And Kim has worn out a few of her punches, but this one's still nice and fresh. So the there we go. They're very, very nice and crisp. So I may be coming back to those. I want some bigger circles to start with, but and as usual, I don't really. Well, I have just the germ of an idea, and that is to do several pieces with a set of overlapping circles in the center from different materials. But you know me, we'll see where it goes. That may fall by the wayside quite quickly. Sorry, reaching out of frame to get my ruler. One of the things I love about the gridded cutting mats is that you can decide, you can line things up on them and then cut them to however many inches you want. Of course, I'm in the middle, so I'm counting back from 20, but that's fine. So it's that line right there that's 6 inches back, so that's good. I was thinking of some 6x6 inch collages today for some reason.
Wow, miniature.
Kim says miniature. I say moderately sized. But that's, opposites attract, right?
Gunta says, glad you are here, even if you are with low energy.
I am here. I'm here.
Adele says hi.
Hi, Adele.
Kathleen's in from London.
Excellent. Wow.
Isabella's here, still in Queen Street West. Don't get around much anymore. Smile.
Yeah, all of us, right? Wow. We were talking with our neighbor out on the street at quite a distance, and he was saying, it's bad when a trip to the grocery store looks like major excitement.
Yeah, that's right. Anne says hi, coming around in High Park area. Your energy is catching.
Oh, good. Yay. That is the hope.
Gunta says, I'm thankful for your classes. My energy level is picking up because of having to keep doing art.
So many things seem to be like that. I exercise a fair bit. It's how I stay sane, especially now. But it's always like pulling teeth to get started. And then as soon as I start, I'm like, why was I resisting this? Because this is making me feel better. And it's the same thing with art, right? It's the same thing with anything that is good for you. And sometimes we resist it, even though we know it's good for us, right? Meditation, eating properly, all of those things. And yet when we do it, thank goodness, right?
Yeah. Mia says, Michael's coupons are the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael's without the coupons are like, wow, that's expensive. But when you bring the coupon in, sometimes it's better than you can get anywhere else. So, and I was reading on the Nielsen Park website, actually, that Michael's is offering curbside pickups because some of the art stores are way backlogged on their delivery. So like Curry's and Dessert are now up to 3 or 4 weeks, some of them. So that's a long wait. Whereas if I think there's less wait at Michael's, so because of that. So
Rebecca says she has a Cuttlebug die cutter to cut various shapes and sizes with about 6 different circle dies. So I said I'm a little envious.
Yeah, you're gonna have Kim. She'll be right over as soon as the pandemic's over. think this one, yeah.
Ricky has a question for you.
Excellent. Fire away.
Can you use live material such as leaves, hair, flowers, twigs, etc. in a collage?
Well, I would never say never to most things, but a leaf is obviously going to dry and turn color and shrink and become more brittle.
And literally decompose.
And literally decompose, right? So yeah,
collage.
it'll start falling apart. There are, and I'm not up on these, but I know that there are ways people preserve leaves. Kim might know because she researches a million things, so I'll let her chime in. But I know people preserve leaves, and then maybe in that state they might be collageable. Dry things that are still somewhat robust once they're dry.
Twigs would be
are fine, like twigs. Pine needles might do okay, that kind of thing. Anything that's once it's dry.
Sturdy.
Yeah, that it's still sturdy rather than crumbling. Like I know some leaves, they just like crumble into bits. And I was going to suggest medium, but Kim reminds me that medium is still porous. It still allows oxygen through, so things will decompose under a coat of medium.
Yeah, so. I actually researched that because I had students who were interested, and acrylic is gas permeable, so it's not porous in the our normal understanding of it, but it's gas permeable. Those paperweights that you see that have organic material in them, like dandelions, they're resin, epoxy resin.
Okay,
so that will preserve things because it's not gas permeable.
So that's the option, but resin is also a lot harder to work with unless. Do you know if art resin?
It's harder to collage with.
Yeah, definitely hard to collage with. You know, I mean, it's sort of beyond collage and more about sort of making beads and amber kind of, assemblage kind of feeling.
So that's interesting. Your theme is circles, so you're starting with a rectangle.
Well, you know, you got to have somewhere to start. So I thought, I'll get a nice torn edge. And this paper tore so, I mean, it does have a little bit of, but look at that. Like it I guess it's really with the grain, right? It doesn't have any of that sort of jagged characteristic.
I think it knew you were tearing it. I think that's why it teared so neatly.
That's pretty funny. Funny. So how are people, what are your coping strategies? How are you doing? What are you doing to stay sane other than collaging? Hopefully doing lots of collaging. What are your best strategies? We're a couple of adults, and we like each other's company for the most part. So we're doing pretty well in that respect. But I know some people who have kids at home and maybe spouses they're not used to having at home. And so it can be quite a challenge, especially if you're living in relatively small quarters. So let us know how you're doing.
We'll catch up on some of the comments.
Fire away.
Marion says, my energy picks up when I'm in community. Loving this community. Thanks for organizing this for us. Hope you will benefit from it too.
We absolutely do. We did it because we started as soon as we could because we knew it was important that people have some way to connect. So that was the goal. And we definitely benefit ourselves as well. So it's a mutual support society, right?
Kim says, sorry to join late. I was speaking on a panel. So happy to be here.
Excellent. Welcome. You haven't missed much. We're only just getting this party started. So
Ricky says, thank you for your thoughtful response. I understand. Rosemary has good info here. Michael's is great. It works well for curb pickup. However, their coupons are now 20%. Normally they're 40%.
Yes.
So.
Well, I suppose that makes sense though, because
it's much more difficult.
Yeah, everything's more difficult, right? Stores can only have so many people in them, or if they're obviously closed.
Skeletons.
But yeah, whoever's working is overworked, right? Trying to get orders out the door. So yeah.
Marion says, I think you can iron dried flowers, leaves, etc. using wax paper. I haven't tried it though. Wax is, again, gas permeable, so it will prolong the life of them, but it won't preserve them long term.
Right.
They'll crumble. Shauna, she just discovered that dividers will cut Ikea catalog paper in any circle, traditional dividers. Then just pull the edges away for a nice torn feel.
Oh yeah, because anything that you can score, if you score it enough, not to cut it, but to score it, you can tear, and it gives you a nice sort of reasonably consistent, but a little bit of a ragged edge. And yeah, the divider point would absolutely do that. And anything like magazine paper that's like the Ikea catalog or magazines where the paper isn't too thin, it takes a score really nicely. I sometimes use the flip side, this corner, this is the cutting corner, and the flip side to score. So let's just give that a whirl and see if...
Ooh, yeah.
In fact, I did it too hard. It's almost cut. It's almost cut, yeah, even though I was using this. But I don't know how well this will register, but I'll bring it up close and you can see it's got a little bit of fuzziness to the edge, which is kind of nice, actually.
Once again, the paper knew Cal was cutting it. So it's very tidy.
Well, I could press just a little less hard and probably get a little fuzzier. So let's try that again.
Yeah.
Students are always asking me, so how do you do this? How do you do that? And I do my best to answer, but I also say, well, try it, experiment, because you don't know until you try whether something is going to work or not. So, in this case, I think I scored too lightly because I'm having trouble actually getting it to tear along that edge, but I'll see how it goes. Maybe I can get it there. Yeah, so it's breaking off the edge more.
Yeah, so more irregular.
Yeah. I'm basically just trying to see where the edge is that I scored.
And tear it.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So not hard enough. Let's see if in between.
The Goldilocks pressure. Alice says hi, and she's so glad to be here finally after figuring out how to join in.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Welcome.
Hope you and Jose are doing well and your family.
Yeah, so there's one that's a little more ragged with a couple of teeth on it, but pretty good. So it's just a case of try and see how it goes. But that's a great tip, Shauna. Thank you.
Françoise shares her strategies, which is painting, FaceTime with family and friends, presumably, walking, Netflix, and variety.
Variety. Yes, I presume in that case you mean variety of things, because yes, you can burn out on anything, especially quickly. Now that we're isolated, right? You can go nuts and then be just like, oh, I don't want to see that again now. So yeah, changing it up frequently is a good idea. We've been doing a lot of course preparation and promotion, and so we come out of our focus on the screen a little bit of a, thinking, oh, I can't do anything more. But as soon as we step away for a little while or try something else, I find my energy returns. So good point to not spend too long on any one thing.
So Rebecca has added to the Michael's coupon
yes.
First of all, I should say Linda asked how to get a coupon. Go to michaels.ca, the website, and look for the weekly coupons there. And you have to click through a couple of times to get to the actual coupon, not just the ad that says you can get a coupon. So be very clear that you've actually got the real coupon that has coupon information in it. But Rebecca mentions that normally those 40% off coupons are only for a single item.
Right.
Whereas now the 20% off is off your entire order.
Wow.
So that could actually work out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because 40% is great, but it is only for one item, and there are usually a bunch of exclusions as well. Can't be applied to these many things. And presumably there are restrictions on the 20% off, but on your full order, that's great.
Jane shares her
Yeah, great.
answer. My week revolves around this gathering. It's inspiring me to get back to projects started way back or rework some yuck stuff. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, it's really nice just to have some time together to work, you know, not like crazy goal oriented, to sort of play, be gentle. And it just gets the engine running, doesn't it?
Mia asks, what kind of divider will cut Ikea catalogs? So maybe you can explain about drafting dividers.
Yeah, so I'm
kind of like your compass.
Yeah, so drafting dividers. The word divider can mean a few different things, but what it means in this case is it's like a compass, but instead of having a drawing or a cutting point, it just has 2 points. And so you would stab your center point as usual, and then you would drag the other point to sort of scratch and score a circle in the paper, and then use that to sort of tear along. I used to have one too, like a blade holder for my compass, but
we have Ophla circle cutters.
Oh, do we?
Do you want that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get that.
Is it in that drawer unit there? It might be.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a page divider or words are failing me these days, I tell you.
It's also used for maps and nautical navigation for making measurements. It's a consistent distance.
So in days of old, you would have a map and you would say, okay, so from this port over to, and then you'd say, I want to go over there. So you do this, say over to that, and then you'd say, okay, then you'd hold it up to your scale and you'd say, okay, it's that many miles or whatever. And then you could also say, oh, it's similar to the same distance between like this place and this place on the map. So
it was also important for drafting to get equal.
Yes, for drafting to make sure that that length is the same as this length. Just a precise way of making a measurement between an equal measurement between.
Oh, maybe in this drawer. Not that.
This pencil needs sharpening.
I found one of our missing Elsa knives.
We have so many of these Olfa knives in our house, but sometimes it's like we can only find one of the 10 that we have. And then sometimes we can find, 8 of them. They come and go mysteriously.
Oh, I really thought one was in here.
Well, don't angst, Kim. I'm happy.
It seems stupid though to own Olfa circle cutters on your circle day and not have one.
Well,
I wish I'd known earlier that that's what you're doing.
Don't give it a second thought.
Okay. I won't.
What are people saying on the comments, Kim?
Well, let's see. Hi, Ruth. Ruth is here.
Yay.
And Marion said, today I received my acrylic paint order from Studio 6, which is another online only art supplier, by the way, for those who don't know. I ordered it on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, and she got it today. So
I think, I forget, was it Arlene? Forgive me if I'm forgetting the names, but someone mentioned it on our Facebook group that was a good place to order. And that,
I think Gwen Tooth did.
Right. And that proves the case, right? I mean, Curry's is, I think someone said for up to 4 weeks, and that's less than a week. That's like, that's like 5 days or something.
So I really recommend that.
Yeah. So they'll probably now be swamped with orders, but
it's worth trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
They sell a variety of art supplies. They may be out of some items. Of course, getting supplies is tough right now.
Every grocery stores are out of certain things. Art stores are out of certain things. We've noticed we've been having problems with the place that hosts our websites. They're probably short-staffed, and as soon as something goes wrong, they have fewer people to do it. So we're doing things that normally took us like 10 minutes, and it was taking us an hour and a half because, all that work I just did just disappeared. Or you select something and you'd watch a clock for minutes instead of a couple of seconds. So everything's like that. So
I spent 4 hours doing 30 to 40 minutes of work.
Right. So
last night. Yeah.
While it is galling, it is understandable. If whatever it takes to keep people safe as possible, if that means that things don't happen as quickly as they used to, that's the price we have to pay. And I'm happy to pay it if it keeps more people safe. So
Alice says everyone in her family's well. She doesn't babysit now for obvious reasons.
Right.
So she could spend more time painting. She's pretty excited.
Oh, you must be happy about that, Alice, eh?
Ruth says, nice to be on here from Ottawa.
Oh, wow. Great. Welcome. Yeah. That's exciting.
Ruth was in my Halliburton class last summer.
Okay.
Rebecca says, me too. This and Kim's class are the highlights of my week.
Aww. That's very sweet. Thank you.
That's lovely, Rebecca. Philippa says that her family's life will be changing again as Engo is about to start working from home. Another computer in 2 rooms.
Yep. I feel for people who have like a few kids and not enough devices. Now that probably doesn't happen much, knowing.
Well, it depends on your
economic circumstances.
Bracket, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you normally have computers at work, but only something sort of limping along at home, and now suddenly you have to rely on it. That's to do everything on. That's a problem. Yeah. Kim and I have been used to working from home for many years, so it was less of an adjustment for us than for most people, because it was like, it's kind of like the old days. Working on the computer and stepping away to sleep or have lunch, or exactly. So
Ruth asks, any tips where to get old magazines, given that she got rid of a pile before she got interested in this? And I was going to recommend catalogs. Like, does she have any Ikea catalogs or Uline catalogs or flyers from stores, coming in the mailbox?
So if you don't have a stash, it's a bit of a trick nowadays, especially since magazines aren't as prevalent as they used to be, and it's not as easy to go out and get them either. So
an old book too, like if you have a stash of old books that you you've been meaning to go through and haven't yet, then dig into that for collage material.
Something that either for Kim's Altered Books or for this, if you happen to have in the basement, something you're meaning to throw away is those old world books or encyclopedias or whatever. Those are a gold mine for images to play with.
Old art books.
But there are a lot of different options. If you don't have a stash of magazines, I like always rifle through your blue box before you put it out, right? See what's in the junk mail, see what is packaging sometimes can be fun, like cereal boxes and Kleenex boxes. Kleenex boxes sometimes are really beautiful nowadays. So that's worth taking a look at. If you have a printer and you have internet, if you're watching me, right? So
or a copier.
Or a copier, you can print stuff out, right? And you can copy things out of books. So like, oh, I don't want to cut up this art book, but I'd love to use that image. Well, throw it on the copier and make a copy of it or several copies and play with those. I will sometimes just go online and Google what I need and find it. I have shared some resources in the past where to find royalty-free stuff that you absolutely don't have to worry about using.
Public domain.
Public domain, yes, yeah. Sorry. But even images that you can find that are that copyright applies to, if you're cutting out a little piece of it and putting it in a different context, or you're cutting a strip out of it, or if you're recontextualizing it so far away from the original purpose that it's more about what you're doing than its original purpose, then you're good. So you can even use a wide range of stuff that way. So
Mia says she gets the dividers thing. Thank you.
Good,
she used to have a set for math.
Yeah, they used to be one of the two things that came in those little metal math sets. There'd be a compass and a set of dividers, and I always looked at the dividers and like, I can't draw a circle with that. And like, but now I understand.
Marg says, hi, just listening for now. She was late and she wants to know what base you are using.
So base can be any number of things, obviously. It can be a wooden panel. It can be a canvas if you're feeling like using high zoot stuff. But basically anything that is sturdy, reasonably. You can even collage on like somewhat flimsy paper, but it does tend to curl. So what I am using, we did get a Curry's order a couple of weeks ago. So I ordered 5 of these knowing COVID was coming. And this is just cheap and cheerful Canson XL watercolor paper, 140 pound. And so 140 pound is pretty, it's reasonably sturdy for the kind of collage I do. It's not absolutely, it's not like cardboard, but it's sturdy.
Yeah, especially at small sizes like
that. So that's a 9x12 pad that I'm working with. And I generally use magazines or like colored papers for the most part. So it works for what I'm doing.
Sparkle Girl has a great idea. She uses leaves as stamps in ink pads and then uses those for the collage.
Yeah, that's great. Because
you could do that with flowers too.
Yeah. Then you get the image of it in whatever color you want, and the stuff that's going to biodegrade can biodegrade, right? So
yeah. You can also do that with gel plate prints of plant material, by the way.
I keep hearing about this gel plate printing. It sounds really interesting.
For sure we'll get to in the next batch of gel plate classes. Marion says, you mentioned Curry's. I checked their website. They were out of most things I wanted and anticipated 2 weeks delivery.
Wow. And
I think that 2 weeks is an understatement, Marion, because we've been hearing 4 weeks from people. So
yeah. One of the main reasons I didn't know how perfect it was going to be, but one of the reasons I chose collage for the topic for something to offer on a weekly basis, on a free basis, is because most of us have, if you're interested in art at all, you have a bunch of stuff. You have things, you may have colored papers, you may have interesting, you may have magazines and books and so on. and hopefully you have the internet and a printer. And so that means this is a great way to repurpose stuff that you already have. So
yeah.
I'm using a particular set of things because that's what I like and that's what I have. You may have a big stack of like old watercolor paintings that you're kind of like, yeah, these are the ones that didn't work out. But I don't seem to have much else, but you can use that, right? You can cut them up, you can cut and tear and reconfigure and use those as your material. Fabric, yeah. If you're a crafter or a sewer, quilter, etc. I mean, I know quilters will have like, their filing system, all these different scraps, right? You can glue that stuff, and it brings an interesting texture too, right? And interesting patterns and connotations as well. So, and you could just use some of those in combination with these things. So. I was looking for some strange thing to put with pink. I think maybe brown would be unusual.
Brown's nice with pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Go put pink on the bottom.
Ruth says, yeah, I was the wild one in the back of the class. Smile. Yes, she was.
Who was?
Ruth. In my class last summer. I can still picture you, Ruth, in that corner.
Gotta have the wild ones.
Yeah. She picked the back for a reason. She wanted to be doing her thing there.
She could be rowdy there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find quite often the most interesting ones are at the back.
They're all interesting in their different ways.
Yes.
I like the keeners at the front too. Yeah, just all different. Tango says ditto Rebecca, which was very nice. So thank you, Mia. That's lovely. Ricky has a question. Enjoying this, don't know a lot. So when I look at posts, my response is often, I like it. Is there a language that can be used to evaluate whether a collage is strong or weak? Oh, that's like a whole universe of knowledge or vocab. Like that's a whole area of investigation, right?
Yeah, so artists will use a whole whack of terms, and the average person, a lay person, will use a whole whack of terms, and
there are criteria.
Yeah, there are plenty of criteria, and there are criteria that are more or less important to individuals too. So liking is great, and I always say that artwork self-selects its audience. So you may find yourself looking through a bunch of collages and, oh, I like that one, and I like that one, and I don't like that one, and I like that one. But that's a very superficial, but it's important to sort of know that's your first sort of pass on your response to something. So then the next thing I would tell you to ask yourself then, and this is of any art, but we're talking about collage, is, okay, so I like that one and not that one. So why? Ask yourself and look at it and think, okay, so I like this one because it's got a bicycle in it, and I like bicycles, and it doesn't have the blood and gore. I don't like the blood and gore. Or I wonder what's going on in it. Whereas with that one, I know exactly what's going on, so it doesn't pique my curiosity in the same way. So asking yourself questions about why do you like or why don't you like, and that's the first step to sort of opening out. Now, there are all kinds of as Kim said, that's a course. That's what art courses are about, right?
Yeah.
In large part, whether it's an art appreciation course or an art making course. And making art is also a great way to sort of learn what you like, right? Because lots of people start making something and they go, ooh, I don't like that. It's like, I mean, we all do that. But then, okay, why? Because just sort of like stopping at the like or don't like is sort of the base level and not that useful, but then sort of puzzling over why does sort of ask yourself some questions.
It's like when we do the gallery walks and I have the chat with people at the beginning, I always say you're going to instinctively like and not like things. and it's an automatic, involuntary response. And it's your least interesting response, whether you like something or don't like something. It's the first level of response. The interesting response is when you start asking questions of the work you're looking at and of yourself as you look at it. And as you gain knowledge and understanding about art and how art is made and what goes into art and why art is made, why an artist would do something in a particular way. And sometimes it's something you initially don't like that becomes your biggest teacher.
I actually find the work that there's an adage about art that, people often say, I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. And in fact, you like what you know. And I've noticed, I've seen it in myself. It's like, oh, I'm familiar with that artist, so I'm already sort of favorably inclined to like their work, or at least find it interesting. And the work that I'm like, oh, I've never seen this before, I'm kind of alienated by it.
I'm uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable, exactly. And art does get under your skin sometimes, whether, that may be the intention of the artist, or it may just be the fact that this is something completely foreign to you, right? When we're in a new land, it's disorienting, right? You don't know how to read the signals. You don't know how to read the signs, maybe, in the language. You don't understand the language. You don't know the customs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really taxing, right? It taxes our brain. And so A, it's exhausting, and B, we can't rely on any of our automatics. Everything is hard. So that's like going into the gallery and seeing a whole bunch of work you haven't seen before. But I've also noticed that work that I really didn't like at first, 6 months, a year later, it's like, oh yeah, look, they've done something new. That's great. I really like what they're doing. I've gotten to understand a little bit more about it.
Ricky mentions she's a recovering academic, so she's just having fun, and this is very new.
That's great. So Kim and I often refer to ourselves as recovering graphic designers. For many, many, many years, that's what we did, which, it had lots of great things to it, great aspects to it, but it meant that we were always creative on demand, and we were always under the gun to come up with interesting things quickly and to a very specific target, and never with enough time, and always with the client's input. So that became a recipe for burnout for both of us. So
we have lots of comments. So.
All right, fire away with the comments. I'll stop yakking.
It's good that you're yakking, but I do want to get to people's. We have a combination of people saying what they're up to. And,
okay, great.
And ideas for materials. So Ruth says, "Oh yes, great idea. Those darn flyers. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally, a use for them."
So just a quick thing, and one of the things I love with collage is taking something that someone put out into the world with a particular agenda, right? Like to sell you sneakers or whatever, and like flipping it around and saying, I'm going to make that into a beautiful flower or whatever, right? But my idea for what that image is going to be, not their idea.
Yeah. Subverting it.
Subverting.
There's a good word for you,
Ricky.
Yeah. Cheryl. Most days she tries to make a list of 3 or 4 small tasks that she plans to get done that day. It's a nice feeling of accomplishment when she checks them off, and she looks forward to this and another art class.
Excellent. And yes, a little to-do list, and I often start the to-do list with the thing I just did, so I can already cross one off, right? Because then I already feel better.
Yeah, and not making it so over-ambitious that you just feel badly.
Yeah,
that's
a to-do list can be a thing that you beat yourself up about, but if it's just like the 3 things I want to get done, if it'll fit on a Post-it note. I heard one of the productivity experts say, if you can fit it on a Post-it note, that's about what you can do in a day. And I've noticed that that's the case. I have my master list, but then it's just like, these are the things I need to do. the rest of that has to wait till the next day.
Yeah. Philippa says she looks forward to these sessions. Did 2 yoga classes on the weekend and a Zoom drawing class last week. She can't believe how busy she's getting. It's crazy.
It's
That's great.
That is great. Yeah. And think about all the time you're saving on commuting, right? And the planet is also benefiting from our not driving hither and thither and yon all the time, right?
Yeah. She adds that she uses cereal boxes a lot and buys one specifically that have potential.
That's hilarious. Going to the grocery store, like, oh yeah, okay, I guess we can eat that, but I will have to because I like this box so much.
Valerie says copies of your own photos work well in collage too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I think was it the first session I started with, or the second one, the one about home. I went around my house and took a bunch of photographs of things around my home and printed them out, and that's what I collaged with. And it's kind of makes it a different animal. There's something fun about using other people's stuff and twisting it, but then there's also something great about using your own stuff.
Mia has suggestions: paper bags from pharmacies or another store.
Yeah.
Receipts, tissue, or color your own tissue or paper, dry and reuse. Paper towels can be colored and reused.
Yes. I think
coffee filters are actually great. They're quite durable. That's just my interjection. Shauna has some suggestions. Thrift shop coffee table books. Once we're able to get back into thrift shops. Yeah, that's the difficulty right now. Tourism brochures. Yeah, that's really good. Great colors in them generally. Paint store design pamphlets.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And paint chips if you have some. Something that I sometimes do a weekend workshop on is maps and art. And so, Rena, who's watching, not sure it's the same Rena, it might not be, but friend Rena gave us 30 years worth of travel maps. And so I just use that in my own collages. That was
Rena Sava, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different Rena.
Got it. Yeah. Right. Sorry, Rena.
Yeah. Shauna also says wallpaper stores ask for outdated sample books. Again, once we can actually go back to wallpaper stores, definitely.
Yes, I've definitely done that for my my collage courses. I've gone to the local decorating store and said, "Got any old samples?" And they said, "No, we don't have any. We just pitched them. But if you come back in 2 months," so I went back in 2 months, and yeah, they had 10 of them.
Yeah,
took them away, and they have all these great patterns. They're great for backgrounds, and sometimes they're great for foregrounds too. They're punchy.
I use them for lots of different courses. Tradigital course, surface design course, contemporary mixed media. Yeah. So Marie says, thinking of circles, I went to clocks, to time, to Alice in Wonderland, went down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and went to Pinterest for some fabulous images.
Yeah. There are so many places online to get great images, and Pinterest is definitely one of them.
Because people are busy organizing them for you, so you can search for them.
Yes.
Yeah. Marg said, figured it out. It is an art paper pad. Yes. Well, that is it. It's a watercolor pad. Yeah.
Yes.
Ruth, responding to the pink and brown,
right,
said Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah, it definitely has a Neapolitan kind of feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah. Zara is here from Richmond Hill. Welcome.
Oh,
Zara.
hello.
The colorful papers that you are using and your shirt color are all cheerful for these days.
Yes.
Would you explain a little what you are planning to do with the squares?
So I've said on these jams before that because I'm talking and relating, it's kind of like walking and chewing gum, and I'm only so good at that. But I thought first thing I'm going to do is just make some plain grounds that I'm then going to play some circle games on top of. So even I can manage something like these. And now what I'm going to do, so I'll show you these first. I like to work in more than one at a time. I find it helpful. So there are 3 grounds, and they're all using just like plain colored paper. So now what I'm going to do is go looking in my plain paper, in my magazines, and cut some circles. And I just have this vague idea of like overlapping either rings or circles so that you see little glimpses and composing them on these. So that's as far as my thought process has got. But I'm now going to just make a bunch of circles and then see how they play with each other.
Improvise.
And improvise, exactly.
Yeah.
Keeping the variables relatively simple so that within that I can play interesting games without being overwhelmed by endless possibilities.
Further to our earlier discussion about looking at art, Mia says, making art is also healing. No matter what it looks like to others, it will be meaningful to yourself.
Yes, those are very true words, Mia.
Marg said, I sat the other night and just cut useful words out of ads in magazines and flyers. Yeah, words are they tickle your
they get your
thinking.
Thoughts going.
Yeah.
If you're a painter and you're not feeling inspired, you might think, oh, but I could gesso over these old paintings, or I could paint some grounds that I'll use, tomorrow or the next day when I'm fresh and feeling it more. Same thing with collage. You can either organize materials into color or into value, or, for instance, if I'm thinking circles, I could spend an hour or two looking for things to cut out circles from. Circles, rings, or maybe crescent moons, or things that relate to circles. And that is kind of like the warm-up, right? It allows you to see possibilities without worrying too much about what it's going to be. I'll often do that in my classes. I'll say, okay, everyone, grab 3 magazines and flip through it and rip out and then cut out anything that looks interesting to you. And that's just an exercise in seeing what speaks to you and taking it out. And then you sort of warmed up your visual acuity, and then you also have some materials to work with. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
The other day you said to me, I don't know what Kim Kardashian looks like.
Ah, okay.
That's her with her husband, Kanye West.
All right, yes.
There you go.
I'm a little bit out of it.
That's good. That's a good thing to be out of. But you did mention that you wanted to know what she looked like.
Now I do recognize her. I think I have seen her a couple times.
Yeah, probably a couple of times. Kim has a comment here regarding comments and community. She had been feeling sorry for herself that nobody in the group had liked her collages, but then she realized that was just the COVID blues. And also that the point is she's having lots of fun making these collages, which is what counts. It's absolutely true. And I'm pretty like 99% certain that just today I saw your collages, Kim, and liked them. And I bet Cal did too.
Ditto.
Right?
So I'm juggling a lot of balls, so I will go away from the Facebook page a couple of 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I'll go and like and comment on a whole bunch of stuff. And also you, Kim, if I remember correctly, you posted quite recently. So usually there's quite a flurry after, the first few days after one of these jams is when I think most people post. Yeah. And then it sort of tapers off as we head towards the next one, and then it goes up at the next one. So you were sort of at that tapered end, so people had probably stopped checking in as often. But by the end of tomorrow, I bet you'll have a lot of likes and comments.
Yeah. But yes, do it for yourself. Share as an act of generosity on your part. and it will add to the energy of the group. And when you're not feeling the COVID blues, you'll enjoy that aspect. Gunta, Kim, will you really lead us through a virtual gallery walk? Did you mention the idea of a virtual gallery walk?
I might have.
Well, it's certainly something that we're thinking about because of the fact that we can't lead our. We were going to have some springtime gallery walks. We were thinking like 2 or 3, and real ones. And since we can't do that, we were thinking of ways in which we could offer a virtual gallery walk. So just stay tuned, and we'll let you know if we figure something out.
I think I mentioned it on your studio jam.
Oh, maybe.
I see. I just can't remember the name of hers. I bet you she remembers the name of mine.
Party.
Studio Party. Yes. Yeah. So stay tuned. It's something we're percolating.
Gunta says, "Oh, Cal, this is so true. Before being introduced to collage at Halliburton, I did not give collage a second look. Now I really appreciate it."
Just like anything, right? Unless it's sort of on your radar, you sort of ignore it. And then when you do encounter it and start engaging with it, it's like, oh, this rabbit hole goes a lot further than I thought, right?
So I'm going to let you cut some circles out so you can make a little headway.
You can
caught up.
I can. Oh, okay. We're caught up. Yay.
Well, Mia says exactly, Kim. I think in either what Kim was saying about having fun making the collages, which is the point, or what I was saying in response to that.
Yeah.
It's the thing when there are 2 Kims.
Yeah,
right?
we got multiple Kims.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
See, now I'd wear that earring. I'd totally wear that earring.
So I this is something that I like. I cut out a circle, more or less. I mean, it's sort of Cal's reasonably accurate, but not perfectly accurate because I didn't use a. Anyway.
That's Cal's idea of wild and crazy wonky.
And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to use the compass to do another circle, like a ring outside of it, but not wrong
centered.
Side, but not centered, so that it has a thin side and a wider side. And I thought, yeah, that's worth. I'm gonna steal that idea from myself.
Yeah. Look what it's done to his face.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Okay.
Yeah, she has to get hands-on. We're infecting her now.
Okay, you got to admit.
That's pretty great. Hold that up, Kim. Kim holds up Kim.
Showing another Kim.
Yeah.
That's just too fun. I love cutouts.
We've got like a lot of lights blazing right now, and I'm still having trouble seeing my pencil line on the dark blue.
Yeah. You need like a white chalk line on the blue. Or a gray chalk line.
Sometimes the collage gods give you these things. I'm just looking over here at this little pile of jettisoned things and just thinking, oh my goodness, this is just so beautiful just seeing the colors together.
Yeah. That reminds me of a surrealist process, right? Where you drop things.
Yes.
And you glue them down wherever they land.
it seems to me that art is a dance between your intention and happenstance that you notice. Because these things happen whether you're drawing, painting, and especially when you're collaging, where you get these gifts. You know, you just throw something down aside as you're working, and then you look over and you think, oh, look at those two things together. That's amazing. And it also depends on your experience, right? You may look at it and think, oh, that's nothing exciting. Whereas the person next to you goes, wait, don't touch that. That's great. You know, so depends what your experience, what you notice. I just said that. I'm repeating myself. Sorry.
Don't worry, dear.
This image, I cut it out for something I was doing a while ago as a possibility. And it's just so stunning that I can't quite bring myself to use it. So maybe I'll copy it. Meanwhile, I'll go to something else.
Judy says that she's opened a Facebook account just so that she can join the group. She's hoping she'll figure out how to post as well, and I've given her suggestion of how to search in YouTube for videos that show you how to do that.
Excellent. Yeah. It's once you get it, it's actually pretty darn easy. But the first time, it's just like anything, right? It's like learning the system, and then it's okay. I can do that.
Kim says, "You're so sweet. Thank you, guys." Heart. The comments and collages and all of that. Ricky asks you to repeat again. Art is a dance between intention and what?
Sort of, I'll try and articulate it a little better. We all have ideas that we want to get down, or we often come to making art with some intention of what we hope to do. And you start, and then you realize, oh, it's not going exactly the way I planned. But if you're open, some people find that really upsetting because it's not going the way I wanted to. It's going on its own direction. Some people go, oh, that's interesting. I'll go that way. If you look at my table here, you'll see all kinds of stuff, right? Here's what I'm working on, more or less. Okay, I'm losing what I'm working on. But I might just notice that these things that fell down because I just threw them there, I might notice a really interesting combination of things. I call it what the collage gods give me. And sort of being tuned into that. A painter might be tuned into the way they mixed up a color on their palette and laid it on the painting, and it wasn't what they were expecting, but it's like, oh, but that's kind of interesting. So when you control every last aspect, it often loses its spontaneity, its life, its interest. It's had the life squeezed out of it because it is so precise. Now, everyone's different. There are artists who are all about precision and control, and they can make exquisite things. And then there are artists who are all about experimental processes that might yield crazy things that they can't control or they barely can control. And I find, for me anyway, somewhere in between, and it depends where it is, but it needs some of each. I tend towards control, so I will often throw in things intentionally to throw myself off balance. Like I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to use everything in, and it has to find it all in this magazine. Or this is all controlled, and now I'm going to pick something at random, like, okay, this, I have to fit this in somehow, make this thing work. Anything that makes me go outside of what I think is possible, what my sort of narrowly defined options are if I'm going with my instincts, right? My instincts often are too small, and I need to broaden them, and chance is a great way to do that. I'm not sure that's the perfect answer, but it's an answer.
Ruth mentioned that you'd use the word happenstance.
Happenstance, yes.
Serendipity.
Serendipity.
Discovery. Chance.
Chance.
Yeah. Staying open is key to the best art 99% of the time. Mia says the pages you showed a little earlier reminded her of another source for materials, which is LCBO catalogs. Yes. They make that magazine that's very beautiful. Actually.
They make a beautiful magazine because, of course, the LCBO has tons of money, so they hire great photographers, great food stylists, and they make a nice thick magazine. And the booze store is still open. Yeah. and so it's always like 3/4 of an inch thick or 1/2 inch thick and full of great images. The images themselves may be too limited for, because it's going to be a lot of like food and drink, right? But the colors in them are amazing. So again, flip the magazine upside down and just go looking for color, and tons of great stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's free too. So free is a good thing, right? Artists like free. I like free.
Jane says, speaking of copying, I sometimes get really good professional copies of my own art and then use that copy as a base for a collage or another painting. Haven't I then produced another original?
Absolutely. I noticed that there's a Canadian painter that I really admire, Kim Dorland. And I noticed that he was doing some work digitally. I'm not sure using what, maybe one of the drawing programs. And then he was having large scale prints done that he would then finish with paint. And it's so it becomes this kind of hybrid. He did some of it on the digitally and then finished it. It's still an original, right? Because he can't duplicate that exact, even if he prints out the starting point again, the paint that goes on it is going to be different. So
I love hybrid.
Yeah, Kim is hybrid girl. And I like hybrids. Kim loves hybrids.
Yeah. Kim suggested that we could sing "It's the Circle of Kims" to the tune of the Lion King. Kim, and Kim.
Right, yeah. All the
yeah. Gunta, I probably, when I was holding up the cutout face with the other
right
through, she said, "Deconstructed faces, love them."
Yes.
Gunta was in my contemporary portraiture workshop, which was quite the adventure in playing with and messing with deconstructing and constructing faces. So, yeah. And Ruth asked, "What are deconstructed faces?" I said, "That's a whole other rabbit hole."
That is a whole nother rabbit hole.
Hi, Irene. She just arrived.
Yay. Hi, Irene. So anytime you sort of take something and rearrange it, artists often refer to that as deconstruction. So taking the nose and putting it somewhere it doesn't belong, or doing something like that. Can't see it very well, but there's a
literally breaking it up. And
anything,
moving things around and combining other things. And Jane says, "Great, I can own hybrid."
Yeah.
You can, Jane. I encourage you to.
No plain Jane there.
Ruth says, so Picasso-like. Exactly.
Exactly.
Picasso was deconstructing, and it upset people, but in fact, it was a place art had to go. Irene says, had to see what you are doing. Sorry she's late.
Well, you do have a teaching job, Irene. First things first, right? But I'm glad you made it here. So we're playing with the theme of going in circles. So I am using circles, not surprisingly. But
not before using some rectangles and squares.
Yes, my grounds are squares. But again, it also can be more metaphorical, right? You could say going in circles. I could imagine it being like loops, or it can. I'm being maybe more literal than I should be by making it circular.
Well, it's a good starting point if the word circles is in
Yeah,
the theme.
exactly.
Irene says her idea of going in circles was a drawing on the front page of the Globe and Mail on Saturday, which we don't get, Irene. So unfortunately, we don't know what that looks like. But maybe some other people here might have seen it.
May know what you're referring to. Yeah.
Just a heads up, it's 3:21.
3:21.
Time
Time flies when you're having fun, eh?
Ooh.
You know, I won't.
Does
I will
it
probably
need anything else?
I always have lots of plans, and then I just look at something simple. I'm a simple mind or something, but sometimes I just like, does it need any more than that? I kind of think not sometimes, so. You know?
Move on to the next one.
That was the first thing that I laid down. Like I actually, well, okay, so I tried it on this ground and thought, that's interesting. Yeah. And then I thought,
way better on that one.
So
okay.
that may be, I may have to make more grounds if I want to do things with more pieces, because my inclination towards more direct simplicity is getting in my way. Spareness is getting in the way.
It's your minimalist heart. Irene said the front page drawing has a photo of a man walking on a tightrope, but the tightrope is very circular. It's a wonderful scribble, all circuitous, and will be an inspiration piece for her next collage. She's sure it's a comment on flattening the curve.
Right.
And Mia says, love it, Cal. Again, wow.
There's something in me that likes looking for alignment. So this is a clipping from an ad that had a woman painted in gold paint, which is pretty.
Well, it's a principle of visual organization. So.
But the fact that it has this horizontal line, I thought, oh, what happens if we take that and align it? And there's something interesting about just doing that. It's like it continues the line, and it could be done the opposite way too, right? As designers, as a graphic designer, I was always looking for that kind of a play between things. Because when the viewer makes a connection and notices, oh, look, that aligns with that, or this aligns with that, it's a little dopamine hit. It's like, oh, it's a little thing reward. For a little reward for people to notice. So I'm a dopamine junkie just like everyone else, so I like those little rewards. So.
But composing is about visual organization, and that is a principle of visual organization.
It is a yes. What she said.
That's a nice chunk, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I like shapes like that.
Yeah, so
Hybrid
this was a
shapes.
piece out. It doesn't show up very well there.
No, you have to hold it against white.
Yeah. So this piece was an offcut. I thought I was cutting the round piece. But then it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It might find its way into something.
Mira is reconstructing a magazine page she found with circles with her own cut up circles. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Gunta says, Cal, I just finished my ground. I love it. A Rothko in blues, but now I don't want to put anything else on it. So make another one.
Yeah. My mentor, Peter Koliznik,
Late great.
may he rest in peace, was dyed in the wool minimalist. So I would have something started, and this happened to other students in his class. We'd have, a few elements down, and he'd come around and he'd say, it's pretty nice. Does it need anything more? And I'd look at it and I say, yeah, it's pretty nice, but I have all these other things planned. And so I was going to do this and I was going to do that and it's going to be more. And he'd say, no, I think it's done. If you want to do more, do another one. And so that thing I was talking about with this one, right? Where it's like I've laid down this, I have made this 3-piece ground and I put one thing on it that, oh man, I think I think it has to be done. So you just have more, right? It just means you may have collage out the wazoo all week today. All week today.
Yeah, maybe all week today. Who knows?
All week today. There you go. That's the takeaway from this this jam, right?
That sounds like a t-shirt.
All week today.
Yeah. I'm here all week today. Like comedians used to say.
What the hell? Heck. Sorry. What the heck? I'll try scissors. Oh, I don't like these things. There's no control.
You need some really small scissors. Mia says, my fingers want to get on Cal's page and I'm talking to the monitor. The new normal.
We both noticed in our respective online sessions that sometimes we just want to reach over to the person and start playing with the stuff that they're playing with because we see opportunities that they're not seeing. So I'm sorry if I'm torturing you, Mia.
Mark says she can't wait to see Mira's collage.
I can't wait to see all of your collages. It's going to be great.
Mark adds, all week today is a real concept in these COVID times when it's hard to know what day it really is.
It's true. It's really true.
Mia says, exactly. Adele says, my collage is about being at home and I am not a minimalist. That's fine too, Adele.
Yeah, absolutely. we all have our inclinations, right? So, I mean, I'm the guy you're watching, so I have influence. So I also feel it's important to reiterate that you need to be you first and foremost, right? I'm me. I do me. That's the only kind of art that I can do.
But you also stretch your muscles.
So I do try and make things that go outside of my comfort zone as well. But you need to do what you need to do, right? And so revel in what you like to do. Try every so often to do something that's outside of your comfort zone too, because then when you go outside of your comfort zone, some of it comes into the comfort zone and it expands your comfort zone, right? But don't look at someone else and think, oh, that's the way I have to do it. Look at someone else and think, is there something there that I can steal? Is there something interesting there? If yes, good. Do that. But if not, think, okay, well, that's for them. Maybe not for me.
Mira says she thinks she's going to follow your mentor's advice.
Yes.
Yeah. It can be very tempting to try and do 4 or 5 pieces on one piece. That's a very common trap that I can fall into. I observe students falling into all the time. It's like, no, seriously, just do more of them, and you don't feel like you have to throw everything at the one piece.
Yeah, I will say that is, especially if you've been away from it for a while, and a while can be like a few days or a few years, right? I often find when I hit the studio with pent-up demand and I'm like, oh, I can hardly wait to get going. I'm so anxious and excited that everything, I don't want to leave anything out. So it ends up piled up a whole whack of things. And often that first one is like, but I've sort of like, that sort of got me going. And then I can sort of settle down and do. Now, one thing that collage is really great for is I can put this aside and it's not glued down, right? I can think, yeah, you know what? I think that's probably going to be it. So, yeah, great. So I'll just put it on over there and I'll come back at it and see, is it really going to be it or am I going to do more? Last week, I had something going while we were talking, I'm walking and chewing gum. So it was only partially had part of my brain on it. And as you saw, what I posted was quite different because after the jam ended, I went and took a little rest. And then I came back a couple hours later and I looked at it and I said, I'm not that jazzed about where it was going, but I saw a couple of other opportunities that I explored. And then, okay, so that's it, right? So
gestation periods are hugely valuable in creative process.
Yeah, I am a big fan of putting your attention on something for a while, thinking about it intently and working on it intently, and then you can almost feel yourself going stale, especially if you're tuned into it. And when you feel that, you have to just like, okay, time to like get up, go for a walk, go make dinner, or whatever else, something else. Even if it's another piece of art, if you're just like, I gotta keep making art, then start another piece. But take your mind off of that and bring it back an hour or two later, and you will notice that the mind hasn't been on it, but the mind has still been on it. So the subconscious is one of your key creative tools. So
just a heads up that it's 3:33. I've got a couple more comments to catch up on.
All right. So hit me with the comments and we'll probably go till about 3:45, just a little extra. If you need to cut out now, I totally get it. That's we're at just past the time that we say, but we'll be around for a few more minutes.
Okay. So Ruth says on the topic of not knowing what day it really is, she says there's this day, that day, other day, and next day.
I like that, Ruth. That's fun.
Yeah. Adele says, I will try to be more of one. But she said that before you gave your whole spiel about what kind of artists you are. Gunta, I'm not exactly sure why Gunta said again with multiple exclamation marks, but clearly
what were you concerned about again?
Maybe it was something good anyway. Mia says, I love you too, Cal and Kimley. Thank you for your time. It is much appreciated. Feeling grateful. Sending blessings to everyone.
Oh, thank you, Mia.
Bye,
Likewise.
Mia.
See you
Thanks
later.
so much for coming.
Thanks for coming out.
And being such a lively participant. There are 46 people watching now. I didn't actually notice what it was at the peak. So that's it for the comments so far.
All right.
So get a few more minutes of your collaging done and cutting and.
This one's more substantial. This is a back cover, I think.
Oh yeah. That's good stuff.
It is good stuff, but it's also I don't know.
You like it thinner. You like Kate. She likes it super thin, but she doesn't like the surface.
Well, I'll try it. We'll see how it goes.
Mira says, I have been living an eternal Sunday for a while.
I love that. An eternal Sunday.
Ruth says the old saying, a month of Sundays applies.
Yes.
Yeah, very much. Mia adds Winnie. She says Winnie the Pooh, but I think she means Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
Any day spent with you is my favorite day, so today is my new favorite day. That's an adorable quote.
Oh, that's lovely. I was not that fond of Mondays. I think a lot of us have a troubled relationship with Mondays, but now I kind of look forward to them. So I really do. So, this, for me, this is, there's a teaching aspect to this, but there's also, I'm playing, which I love to do, right? So I love to be able to play along together. And I love seeing what you guys come up with in the Facebook group. So I feel like we're creating something really beautiful here. So, and thank you for everyone's part in that. I'm really grateful.
Yeah. Françoise says, liked your rectangles as backgrounds. We'll experiment in that direction. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Françoise.
Susan says, thank you so much with multiple exclamation marks.
Yeah, you're welcome, Susan.
Philippa says, I'm cutting out soon. No pun intended. Good pun, though.
Yeah, that is a good pun.
Yeah, I take credit.
That's a collage pun right there.
Yeah. Thank you both for filling my afternoon with joy and laughter with a lovely emoji. Irene says, you make Mondays complete. Finally, I get to do art on a Monday.
Yeah. Irene is for those of you who don't know her, she's a public school art teacher. High school, yes, sorry. It's public art high school. Public high school. I can't speak anymore. Anyway, she's very selfless. She does a lot for her students. And now that she's teaching from home, I think even though the learning curve has been steep, she has a little more time to herself, so she can do stuff like this. So yay, right?
Marion writes, I've been listening and cutting.
Excellent.
Thanks so much to you both for giving such helpful responses and keeping me inspired. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a fruitful and artful week. God bless.
Likewise, likewise.
Thank you, Marion. Rena says, your circle prompt got me thinking about juggling different balls, which is what we are all doing at this time. Needless to say, my collage is even busier than my usual busyness. I love it.
See there, that's a perfect extrapolation from the prompt, right? Because yeah, we are juggling a lot of balls. And different balls too, right? Like in quote unquote normal life, which certainly has some abnormal qualities if you look at it from a little distance. but we have millions of things we juggle. Now we're juggling a whole bunch of different challenges. So I can feel the synapses in my brain, and I think that's why we tire out more, right? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we have to navigate.
Our brains are growing.
Yeah, brains are growing. You know,
quickly and massively.
Trying to cope with all these new inputs.
Rena says, thanks for another wonderful afternoon, Kim and Cal, with a heart and another emoji that unfortunately didn't come across.
Oh dear, yeah.
Thank you for coming, Rena.
Yeah.
Annie says, thanks, Cal and Kim. Couldn't talk and cut and glue at the same time, LOL.
Yes. Don't, like, if you really feel compelled to comment, absolutely comment, but in general, you know, if you've got your head down, you can just listen along, right?
Yeah.
And some people, they may be working, or they may not be working, in which case they can comment more. So it's all good. It's all good. So
Irene said, I'm looking at all the photos that I took while Kim was with her Weston students on Friday, March 13th, which was the last day that I did an event before lockdown.
Yeah.
They spent the entire day making jelly prints. Well, that's nice that if there are 2 or 3 you can share with me, Irene, I'd appreciate it. Kathleen says, thank you both for a wonderful afternoon. Stay safe. You too, Kathleen.
You too, Kathleen. Yes. Staying safe is the job number 1, right? So, and
Jane says, thanks, guys. I've managed 2 on canvases I had previously started that were sitting around waiting for something to hit me, so I circled them in and think they pop.
Wow,
but
great.
Y'all can let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Post it in the Facebook and we'll take a look. Absolutely.
Thanks from Irene. Linda says, I love your minimalist eye, Cal.
It's a double-edged sword. I do like minimalist, and I also just sometimes despair of myself that I never get, or rarely get, more complex. So
you do get pretty complex with your paintings.
And sometimes with collage. So yeah.
So it just depends on what you need to
depends
do,
on the day, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So
it's 3:41.
I think it's
so
probably
it might be
good time to wrap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a little break afterwards, and then before I like tidy up, because Kim will need this for some other online courses, but I will come back and once I can hear myself think a little more, I'll do a little more on them and see what comes, and I'll post what works, and maybe some that don't work.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to seeing what you guys post as well. I have the prompt for next week. Now, I will still email it and I will post it to the Facebook group, but I thought as we wrap up on our live time, I might as well mention it. So next week's theme is diagram. So remember, again, it's optional. If it doesn't speak to you, do something on your own hook. Give yourself your own prompt or give yourself carte blanche. But if you enjoy working with the prompt, it's diagram. So let's see where that goes. All right. I think it's time to wrap. Thank you so very much, everyone, for coming out to play. Keep collaging. Stay safe. Much love. Take care.
Want this piece of tape?
I'll just put a piece of tape on, and I'll leave the comments open for a minute or 2 longer, okay? So the stream will end in a couple minutes, but the video part of it ends now. Okay, see ya.
So, want to mute yourself?
muted this, but I'm not.
Did you?
I'm not. Oh, not.
No, down there.
Yeah.